Hey, we are here. We are here. We are here. Oh, we're not at the mics. We're at, no, well,
Yeah,
anyway, the mics still kind of work.
yeah.
We'll just keep it up to make it look like we're usually. Go right ahead, Sharon. And once you start things off like usual, I'm running the
Yes.
board today. So
I
I'm stuck like Chuck.
yes. And I just want to start off by
Hmm.
saying hello and welcome.
Hmm.
And we're glad that you're back with us. We are continuing our discussion of emotional intelligence. But more than that, I think I should probably tell you um, that we are um, Craig and Sharon, or or Imar and Zare, and we are taking the journey together. And so, and I will also go on with our motto.
Yeah, go ahead. Take it to yourself.
Oh no, that's okay. Our motto says, "We are going to relate. It doesn't matter what our mother, father, sister, brother, or anyone says. We are going to relate." Taking the journey together believes that it is better to relate in a balanced way. And what we mean by balanced way is you begin the friendship, you could begin a relationship with a friendship, and you build it into a lovership, and you go into a committed relationship with your um, lover and your friend as one person, not having to choose between one or the other. That's a balanced relationship. So, we have that said and we have that done. And I am just really thrilled to be here again.
I
And
know. I'm working.
yes, you're working and I'm holding down
Hmm.
the fort to some extent. And and
Hmm.
so hey,
Well, so you
how are
don't
you
remember we
today?
talked? Well,
Yeah, I did. I
I,
said we were talking about emotional
okay.
intelligence.
Don't bite my head off.
And no, no, I oh no, I want that yet. It's a
Watch
cancer.
your mouth. You shouldn't have said. What you're saying, some people will take it the wrong way. So you know
Okay.
how the internet is. Like, for instance, um, hmm, uh, the internet with the chair situation that happened this weekend.
Yeah. Yes, that was something. This one lady came up yesterday and she says, "I'm lost. What's with all the chairs?" I'm like, she was probably the only person who has no idea. I'm not even on the
Was she a
internet.
white gal?
Uh-uh. No.
Mm, mm.
Yes, it has been spreading through the black community, like as they say,
Wildfire.
wildfire.
Well, it's virtual.
Yes, and so yeah, it was
So what do you
interesting.
think about that, by the way? Let me finish
Um,
typing this out, Miss Woman.
well, one of the things I think is it's really um, good. I felt good to see the young man come to what I'm assuming was an older guy's rescue,
Yes.
because those three could have really hurt or even maybe killed him if there had not been somebody who stepped in to
Mm-hmm.
try to protect him.
Yeah.
He was three against one and on the ground without
Mm-hmm.
any defenses or any way to protect himself. So for that, I am just really, I was thrilled to see that.
We
That
got
was
David Banner watching.
welcome. That was
Yeah,
a
I wonder if
really,
there's a David Banner that's kind of well known out there.
I,
He's a controversial grassroots African American brother that deals with a lot of issues. That might be him. I don't know, but he might be. If not,
not,
welcome anyway.
he's
We got
got a,
someone else. It's a good platform, John Frederick. Glad to
yes,
see you, John Frederick. To be here on platform might be the first time that you hear it at the same time. Did you give what our mission statement is?
I did.
Oh, okay. Well, John, hopefully you heard what that statement is. But back to there we go. Back to the chairs being thrown. Talk
Yes,
about emotional
yes,
control. Wasn't much,
no, no,
but yet after the guy who was a co-captain got pushed because that section where they're supposed to be parked, those folks in the boat didn't want to move it.
yes, I
And
think
the
he needed
captain
to.
had a bullhorn, from what I heard today, at the beginning, telling them to move. This is
Hmm.
where you usually have this big ferry dock at.
Yeah,
Kind of reminds you of River Street, where River Street has an old paddle boat used to be owned, I think that's what it said, by John who?
Like Captain Sam.
Captain Sam, Afro-American, who was taking people up and down the river all the time in the past. And
To the Fusky,
did
to some of
Fusky Island and all the
some of the
other islands that a lot of Afro-Americans went to. And this boat got compensated.
confiscated.
Yeah. And so anyway, that famous River Street kind of set up in Alabama. This was the usual where this boat always parks at. And the captain was shouting through a bullhorn, who has this boat here? Please move your boat. You don't need to be here. And he did that, they said, for about almost 15, 20, 30 minutes. We've been on River Street. You know how long it could take. We got a whole bunch of tourists, noise, and all that stuff.
That close, yeah.
Exactly. So we knew it would take some while. So those people were still waiting on the boat to get off. Have places to go, people to see, and places to go.
And the boat might have had another scheduled run.
Exactly. So the co-captain got in a boat, took the boat from where the ferry was over to the other side. He got out to find out specifically who that was in that boat. You saw him walking that direction. And then that's when the people who finally heard through, I guess, the bullhorn or people talking to him came up to the co-captain. And then that's when things started. And of course, everybody's talking about how he threw a signal out for people to help him when he threw his hat up in the air.
There are so many memes coming off of that.
You're not kidding me. It was funny. And then the young guy who basically, hello, Mr. Cheyenne. I think that's what's pronounced. He's watching too. Want to say hello to him?
I or her. I don't know.
Okay. Well. Anyway, we'll get finished with this because we're talking about relationships, but what a relationship that's going on viral on the internet.
Yes.
And so the young man who jumped in the water, African American, swam over. How many young African American men do you know have no problem jumping in the water, let alone jump in the water to go from there to help out an older brother at that? That was just unbelievable. Everybody's talking about that. They're sending money to him. You see, I don't need it, even though they're saying the hero. He said, I don't need it whatsoever. But they say it's known that the Alabama water there is usually full of crocodiles. Seriously? And that most won't jump in the water because of crocodiles. That's what I was listening to a radio station. Someone from Alabama was talking about it. So they were like, man, that young guy just really risked. He threw what? Caution to the wind.
Yeah.
And did what he did from that end. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how that carries out itself. And then, of course, at the same time, who's going to jail, who's not going to jail, and how long. I think the way it was going, they're going to probably make a movie out of that. I don't know who's going to play the guy in the chair, who they haven't caught yet, and who's going to play the young man that jumped in the water.
Wow.
Aquaman.
I'm just trying to figure out where he got a folding chair out there.
I don't know. But what a show. What a show it
Yes.
was. And then you hear me saying already, it looks like it could become a show, maybe a series. Who knows the way today is.
Yeah, sometimes the 15 minutes of fame, 15 seconds of fame or whatever the saying goes. Becomes
gossip just goes unbelievably big.
Yeah.
Now it's not even funny from that particular. And so because gossip goes all the way big right now, you could see it roll into a show with no problem at all. Yeah.
And get embellished and all that, Yeah, it's something. Wow. Good. People still are concerned about others though.
Okay. Listen, we are talking about emotional intelligence. Everybody who's been following us, been listening, hey, make sure you share with your friends right now, share with your enemies, share with anybody in between, as we are going to talk a little bit more about emotional intelligence. And, some people say that thing that happened this weekend showed some people who didn't have emotional intelligence. And other people say, well, it was a level of emotional intelligence from the standpoint of some people could have really got hurt. People could have got killed. And there's some people that held back or to the shore, just being like in warriors, like in a gladiator stadium, just urging people on from that particular. But, emotions are what people show. Emotions are part of us. And I know we hear out there many times that emotions are supposed to be connected to a certain sex. Like in this case, we always push emotions are only supposed to be said or projected. expressed by females,
Females.
and males don't express emotion. Well, we got to see in Alabama that was not true, because there were mostly males there who were showing their usual typical kind of emotion, which is anger and rage. So you got to see that.
But a lot of that
Hmm.
wasn't. I don't see that. I know that it's going to come out
Hmm.
as being anger and rageful,
Hmm.
but I don't see it that way. I see it as something that's coming out of genuine concern and protecting this man at any.
Yeah, but your motivation behind it is because of anger, is because of concern.
Mhm.
Those are two emotions that in turn can be there to motivate you,
Mhm.
and in turn, how can I say it? Have a display
Yeah.
of showing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see
I
that.
mean, we talked about
Yeah.
before in relationships, sometimes how you display certain concern
Mhm.
or a certain want that you want to get across
Mhm.
to your mate may not be well taken from your mate, because how you displayed it. We use, in other words, I can't remember right time at the time. I'm sure
Deliver.
how you delivered it. It may not have been a happy package. It may be an uncomfortable package. Hey, you might have threw the package at him, hit him in the
And
head.
you miss.
So from that particular standpoint of view, then it made it very uncomfortable,
Yeah.
just because of how that happened. So we have to be concerned, as we're going to be talking about it right now. How do we deal with our emotions? How should we deal with emotions? And how can we deal with emotions in such a way where we basically have them controlled? And we talked about that
Mhm.
from the standpoint of what kind of control? What's the word we use? Caught you off guard. See if you got to control
Yeah,
it.
you did, because I get sidetracked too easily by watching
Mhm.
things that I should not be.
Yeah, well, you gotta be here, be present here.
Yes, direct control.
No, we were talking about management.
Yeah,
That
yes,
it's management. That's what it is.
managed control.
Yep, manage control. In
Yes.
this case, manage control. So manage control is all about you trying to give people information and knowledge that has to do with dealing with them, especially in the emotional end. But it's something that you are also doing too,
Yes.
where direct control, the kind of control that we talked about before, which is very mean spirited, is the kind of control where it's unhealthy because it's
Yes.
domineering. Where a
And
person's trying to
it's
tell you something that they're not going to do at all.
yes,
So they're
or
pretty much
something that will
hypocritical.
mainly benefit them.
Benefit them. So
Yes.
they're very hypocritical.
Mhm.
So we're not talking about that kind of
Yes.
control whatsoever.
No. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm
So
sorry. I got sidetracked.
that's all
I'm
right.
not even going to pretend otherwise.
So anyway, those are out there. If you've got any questions, don't let us be the only ones that are giving you or just talking. We know we get good information, stuff that you could take with you. It's free of charge, even at that. But we'd love to have your feedback. Please ask some questions.
Make some statements.
Make some statements that have to do with what we're talking about. Get emotional as we're talking about, because we know we do. Typical emotions, the male is the anger, rageful emotion, not all the time today. And then the other emotion, typical stereotype, we say we wouldn't know what kind of emotion.
Their emotion is generally um, from the heartstrings. I don't know.
Because you don't let much of your emotions go, so you
I
have a hard time.
don't.
You're one of the many women that hardly show their emotions much, so you
Yeah.
don't even know because you're not much in touch with your
And
emotions.
you know what? And that's true. And here's the problem with that.
Mhm.
I'm trying to get back in
Mhm.
touch with them.
Mhm. Back control, management control.
And see, and that's what I have
Mhm.
been doing. I have been managing. I've been managing them too closely.
Mhm.
And I know
Past hurts does that.
Hmm.
Past hurts
Past hurts.
have you
Exactly.
do that. You're guarding your heart.
Yes.
You're trying to make sure someone doesn't take advantage of the emotion
Mhm.
show before.
Again.
So, so you shut them
Yes.
down.
Yes.
And
Or-
get like
or-
a scar, as they say, over
Right.
your heart, and therefore you pretty much are very careful
Mhm.
and concerned about
Yeah.
letting certain emotions out.
Yeah. Or you've been ridiculed
Mm-hmm.
for showing emotion.
Mm-hmm.
You cry and you're crying for the wrong reason. You cry and you're crying for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
You get upset and you're upset for no reason. You get
You're upset and you don't even know why.
Yeah, because sometimes it's just built up
Mm-hmm.
over time. But you have people telling you these things. You're upset, and I'm supposed to be upset. Well, why can't we both be
Well,
upset? And you know what I'm
mhm.
saying? So that shuts you down.
Well, even all those things you're referring to, that happens a lot when you are not trying to, some people say level up
Yeah,
or try to operate in a balanced way in your relationship.
exactly.
Operating a balanced way in your relationship means that you're going to look into those things.
Hmm.
You're going to be concerned about your emotions.
Yes.
You're not going to necessarily take the taboo stereotypes that say because of a woman. You didn't say because a
Hmm.
lot of women are in that stereotype and taboo that says I'm not going to show my
All
emotions.
right.
Sadly to
Absolutely.
say, I'm going to think like a man and be like a man. I think that's a Steve,
I
which is Martin. Excuse me, that's Steve Martin. Steve
Harvey.
Harvey said.
Yeah,
I
it was something.
heard this is his third marriage, John.
He's married again.
Yeah, he's married again, so I guess he's so much of an expert. Or maybe this time he get it right.
He
Who
at
knows?
least he doesn't give up, I guess.
Exactly. So
But-
so on that particular end, then trying to, what was I saying before? I got mixed up when I was thinking about Steve
You're
Harvey.
saying think like a man and be like a man.
Yeah,
or
I
something
just
like that.
stop me there. What was
Yeah.
that before that?
Before that, we were talking about emotions and emotional shutdown.
Oh, and how women, which you didn't say, because women today, a lot of times they say, especially it says in the African American community, which is sad, they're trying to say women now act more like men
Yeah.
and don't show emotional side
Yes.
or at least show no control of emotions
Mhm.
because they usually will come up with a stereotype that she's really at the end just an angry black woman,
Yes.
as they would say with a black man, he's an angry
Angry.
black. So
Either way you go,
so either-
both genders in the black community.
now
are
the same
angry.
now.
Yeah, they're both
We're all
angry.
angry in this
Yeah.
case. Don't know what we're angry about, but many times
Yes.
we do. But many times the anger is between each other because we're not
Yes.
really operating in really as friendship, which is what
Exactly.
unity means. All excuse me, taking the journey together is all about trying to build that kind of
Right,
friendship together.
right.
So open your emotions up and understand that it's really not just a male thing, and really not just a woman thing. That all of us have emotions,
Mhm.
and that our balance is trying to, in this case, understand what emotional intelligence is.
Yes, and where we are
And
at
where
that
we are.
particular time, and how we need to cope with it.
Exactly. In that the higher up that you are in emotions when it comes in, and we talk about intelligent wise,
Mhm.
and not like as you said last time, all in your emotions, but it's more to how sensitive you are to your emotions. But you find that the higher you are, if you want to do grade levels or expansions when it comes to it, and the intelligent side of emotion, it is at the highest peak how well you get and how well you can do by being sensitive to your mate's emotions.
Yes.
In other words, someone else's emotions.
Mhm.
So it's not like we may have thought that when it comes to emotional intelligence. When I got my PhD, I'm just use that word, in emotions and intelligence. It means I think so much of myself. I know so much of myself. Everybody else is cut off, and I really don't give a damn.
Yeah.
No, emotional intelligence. When you think about it from emotional point of view, then you would understand the highest point of emotional intelligence is you not only being able to understand yourself well first and being able to manage your emotions, but at the same time, you are able to, because of that, understand someone else's emotions
Right.
and be able to connect to someone else's emotions in a very balanced way.
Right. And be able to, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm,
be able to govern yourself
mhm.
based on their emotions
Yes,
to try to keep things balanced.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So let's get into, as we did before, because we want to finish up and move on. For those who have had a chance to pick up some of us, we want to say we missed Dr. Frazier. He's not here. He's on the road taking care of family business,
Yes.
but he'll be with us hopefully next week, and hopefully we'll be on a new subject next week too at the same
We
time.
will be.
We should be. So we went to the different attributes of having that self-awareness.
Mhm.
First, talk about self-regulation. Starts with self.
Yes.
The next one is self-awareness.
Yes.
Okay, and part of that self-awareness is your other mate or the other persons in your relationship. Notice how it rises that direction when you have more of intelligence that's connected to your emotions. And the last one is having social awareness. You are aware of other people besides you, your mate, and tradition, your family.
Right.
You're concerned with the community. It kind of reminds me of the again, the ship thing that happened in Alabama. People were talking about how some of the African Americans there came together,
Mhm.
something that doesn't happen all the time usually, and came to the rescue of the co-captain.
Right.
And so their emotions were high, and they decided to be more concerned just with themselves and just being a warrior and watching. Their emotions rose to a point where they now were being sensitive, concerned
To
about
somebody else.
somebody else.
Yes.
And with therefore, and it wasn't a family member of theirs,
Mhm.
of
It
theirs,
wasn't even
probably
somebody,
wasn't.
a lot of them knew.
Yeah, even knew it all at the same time. And so that's an example of emotional intelligence may have you move that way. Now we're not condoning any kind of violence whatsoever,
No.
so don't think that. But in this particular case, the matter of how they connected had everything to do with how everybody's emotions was beyond just themselves and was looking out for a big picture or social awareness itself.
Mhm.
So self-awareness is one of the things that we talked about. It's important. Then we went into empathy, understanding the feelings of your partner. That's when you
Yes.
start moving to someone else in your
Mhm.
relationship. And then we went to emotional regulations, which is what?
Um, the ability to manage and control your emotions in a healthy and constructive manner. It includes being able to express emotions effectively without resorting to harmful or destructive behaviors.
Mm.
So, in other words, if I'm angry with you about something, I should be able to express my anger
Mm-hmm.
verbally,
Mm-hmm.
show my emotions without physical interaction,
Mm-hmm.
without, um, and when I say physical interaction, I mean just picking up. I had a friend once who, when she would get angry, she would pick up a book and just throw it across the room or
Mm-hmm.
something. And if you were in the way, oh well.
Mm-hmm.
And
You had a couple of books coming my way. No, excuse me. You had a couple of books that came from me, and you ducked it real good.
yeah, she trained me well because she would.
Your favorite books too. I didn't want to read them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you learn to duck and dodge. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
all kidding aside,
Mm-hmm.
you are able to do that without hurting the other person. Well, you
How about your hands on your hip?
can now.
The hands on the
Okay.
hip in that, what I
Okay.
call a chicken model walk, when you walk away and
Okay.
you upset and mad as can be. How about that one?
That's managing.
Yeah, right.
That's managing in a way that's not hurtful to anyone.
Uh-huh.
Because I can put the hand on the hip and then
Mhm.
it's like, oh, yeah,
Mhm.
and be gone.
Yeah.
But at least
Mhm.
I'm not throwing things.
That's true. That's true.
At least I'm not.
That kind of management still moves you in a area, as we're just got to, we're moving to. It's a emotional regulation, no doubt
Mhm.
about it, but it definitely jumps over empathy
Yes.
because you're not trying to be empathetic
Right.
to that
Right.
person.
Right.
You're doing the hands in the face in
Yes.
so many words that says, "I got no empathy for you.
Yeah. And
I really
or
ain't feeling you
anything
at
else
all."
at that time.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
like
So
not feeling you. We'll get back to this later.
So it's not really a graduation; it's a degrade
Yes.
in
Yes.
the grades, if you may want to
Right.
say intelligence. It's like almost starting all over again.
Now, emotional regulation, I think, is
Mhm.
more being able to say, "Look, I'm angry
Mm-hmm.
and I'm upset, and I don't want to say things that are hurtful to either one of us."
But not the hand like this.
No,
Okay.
being able to say that and
Uh-huh.
say, "I understand that you're upset also, but
Mm-hmm.
can we discuss this after we calm down a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Am I right or wrong?"
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
See, so um,
I'm trying to look. I'm trying to find one of the commercials like we had at the bottom. Okay, that's better. That's better. So we're moving now into our, which you covered very well, um, active listening.
mhm,
I think that is one thing that many times in our relationships we don't usually do. Notice the word says act listening.
yeah,
We're not talking about casual listening.
right,
We're not talking about, well, just on the side, I think I'm going to maybe hear what you say.
yeah,
We're talking about having actual active listening.
yes,
And active listening is you going out of your way to want to hear,
mhm,
going out of your way to want to listen to what that person
yeah,
says. And sometimes that's actually asking questions. And that takes a crucial skill
yeah.
to be involved with
And
that.
it is so annoying when you're
Mhm.
dealing with someone who you're in conflict with
Mhm.
and you want to explain why you're feeling the way you are,
Mhm.
and you get cut off at every turn.
Uh-huh. She's
I'm,
trying to talk about me because I do that sometimes. That's all, folks. Don't
no,
worry about it.
no, I'm
My
not.
feelings ain't hurt. All my emotions are not hurt. They're really not.
No, I'm
I'm
not.
gonna have you talk to the hand
So let our hands talk to one another.
now.
No, but seriously, I've been in those situations,
Mhm.
and I've even been in those situations
Mhm.
with um, supervisors
Mhm.
where there's an issue that you're trying to talk about,
Mhm.
and they already have a predetermined idea of what's going on or what needs to be said,
Mhm.
but they don't want to hear your side
Mhm.
of what you're thinking and what you're feeling.
Yeah, so
You know.
they're not really giving you what they call active listening.
Exactly. Exactly.
They are already thinking ahead
Mm-hmm.
for you
Yes.
and what they want you to say
Exactly.
from that end. So
Yes.
it's really
And
like
if they're wrong, you're the one that's wrong because they
I've
already
seen that
know.
happen in relationships too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I know a lot of guys that grew up saying, my wife is like that. She already got in her mind what I'm thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and I ain't even thinking that way. And she's gonna tell me what I'm thinking even before I
And
thought
won't
it.
hear otherwise.
Exactly.
Yes.
From that end.
And some of them will even say,
Mhm.
I know you better than you know yourself.
And they would actually think that kind of way. Hey, what happened to mine? Oh, it's okay. They would think that kind of way of doing listening.
Mhm.
They would think that's active.
Yes.
To them, active in this case is I'm going out of my way to tell you what you think before you think it. So it's got to be actively listening before I wait for you
Right.
to say something. And that's just so far from the truth. It's not even
Absolutely.
funny.
Absolutely. Active living.
Living? Wow. Okay.
Active listening is giving. The listening and the giving get tangled up
Mhm.
together. Active listening is give and take.
Mhm.
You say something, I say something. You respond, I respond. To get to a solution.
Mhm.
That's active listening. Not you tell me what is going on and I'm telling you, no, because it's this. I see this and that's the way it is. That's not active listening.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, what we're saying in so many words is after listening, again, as we talked about before,
Mm-hmm.
in the scale or the graduation of emotional intelligence, it's not you getting more into you and
Yes.
presenting that to your mate.
Right.
It's more you showing to your mate that you are so comfortable and confident in understanding you that you are able to then really go out of your way to understand them.
Yeah.
That's what emotional intelligence is. When you move up in the
Yes.
scale, you
So
graduate,
active
you get
listening.
more better, you
Mhm.
get more expansive. So you are able to listen even that much more to the other person.
Yeah.
Sometimes you will wait for them to say something and they may not say anything at all. And you may have to use what they call body language. Because
Yes.
sometimes people speak with their body language
Yes.
and they don't say anything at all.
Right.
And you can know that. Yeah,
And this
yeah, there
is
you
body
go.
language.
I was getting ready to say, when they give you that eyes, that evil eye. No, I'm just joking.
It's like,
But
like I had a student walking towards the door today
mhm.
with her eyes cut to the side. I said, if you don't stop side-eyeing me.
Mhm,
And some of the students were looking like, side-eye? Well, she knew exactly what I was
mhm,
talking
mhm.
about when I used that term. And so, it's body language. Body language.
Exactly. So, okay, so we're going to go to a commercial. So everybody's just stay tuned. Don't go away. We want you to stay there. Make sure you tell your friends. We're going to talk a little bit about emotional intelligence. We're going to try to finish it this time. We got a couple more things we're going to talk about: social awareness, trusted intimacy, empathetic communication, emotional resilience, and then finally we're going to wrap it up in the next half an hour or so. Don't go any place. Let's go to a commercial. And we'll see you when we get right back. Okay. Bye now. Well, no.
Later.
Later. There you go. right, we're back again. We're back in. See at the bottom below, where I got streaming here. Hey, make sure you look at if this if this information is being a blessing to you, if it's something that's really moving you right now in your relationships, or as some people say, old preacher said one time to me, sometimes information that you get, you can put it in a deep freezer, and one day you may have to bring it out when you need it. So it may be that. Make sure you support our Black media, important media. When we go to our Cash App
Yes.
account, right there,
At $,
Mhm.
all things relevant.
Ex-
$, all things relevant.
Yeah, and we take whatever you could give, even though, excuse me, my
Oh,
phone
I
out.
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
even though we know our our engineer and our owner would love to take $1,000 or more if all possible. So anyway,
Yes.
we'd love to have you give. We'll tell you a little bit more about us too, where you can see us other places. Sharon, you want to do that while I find that? See
Yes,
which one I
you
find
can.
first. I'll do
You
this
can,
one. How's
of
this
course, you can find us on, well, that was not where I was going.
one? Okay.
But you can find us on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock on WRUU, which is a local platform in the Savannah area. However, you can also find our archived shows at rebrand.ly/TTJT
Right below.
WRUU. Yes,
Oh,
right
no,
down
over
below.
here. Right below here.
Right
Yeah, there
here.
it is. There it is, right below here.
Every Saturday, 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's a link for it. You can also find us at, you can,
Oh, hold on. Here it is.
okay.
There we go. You were reading, I
can-
forgot to click on it.
Yes, you can go online to www.wruu.org or listen to our past relationships. It's all right down there at the bottom. And
here.
we talk about generally the same things. However, there's always a different take because they're both live shows. And when you do live shows, you talk about things and see things in a different manner.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you can also, of course, don't forget to look for us right here every Thursday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time
Mm-hmm.
on our Black media. And you can also contact us at Taking the Journey Together through email, which is ttjt@takingthejourney-together.com.
It's right up there too.
Well, it wasn't there. So, and facebook.com/ttjtogether. We have an Instagram page, which is instagram.com/taking the journey together. Taking the J together. Oh, we got classy, taking the J together. And
right.
Our webpage is takingthejourney-together.com. Okay?
All right. Well, let's get right back because we were trying to finish this off if all possible. So, hey, make sure that you drop everything you got that's going right now because we're getting ready to finish this. I think it's important. I think we have emotionally have given enough of that information that we just can't take it anymore.
Yes, our emotions run over.
Exactly. So social awareness. No, emotional support. Emotional intelligence relationship entails being supportive and available for your partner when they need emotional comfort and resistance,
Yes.
involving offering empathy, validation, understanding during challenging times. So
Yes.
that says to you that, hey, some of you guys out there, you need to make sure that you give that emotional support to that partner of yours that you love. As she was saying,
And ladies-
sometimes if she is feeling tearful, she's feeling crying, don't cry with her. No, I'm just joking. Don't say, stop being a ninny. I don't know where that even came
A
from.
ninny? Okay.
My uncle used to say some shit like that. But anyway, just stop being a sissy, pussy, or whatever else they say. And turn straighten up and be manlike. I know sometimes you might say that.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever said
Toughen
that.
up.
Might have been tough enough, I might have said, but still,
Yeah.
that emotional part is part of supporting
Mhm.
your emotions. And you get ready to
Yeah.
say on the other side.
Yeah, and females too. I had a student the other day who was deeply grieving,
Mm-hmm.
and she said that she was upset in
I
one of
speak a
her,
little bit.
and she said she was upset in one of her classes
Mm-hmm.
before she before she got to my class,
Mhm.
and said the teacher saw her crying and said, basically told her to stop. She wasn't boohooing or anything like that, but
Mhm.
she had,
Mhm.
tears running. The teacher brought it to everybody's attention that she was crying and said, you know, that she didn't have anything to cry about, and didn't ask her what was wrong or anything, just informed her that there was nothing for her to cry about, instead of, saying, do you need to go to the counselor or something like that?
Well, today, right now, we see, starting from politics, the polarization from
Hmm.
politics, and everybody has to, be tough, not be vulnerable. Tough means I'm not sensitive to anybody unless I say who's going to be sensitive to,
Yes.
and in turn, who I claim we should be sensitive to.
Hmm.
It usually, starts with me.
And sometimes it ends with me,
Exactly.
you know.
So sensitivity from that standpoint of view is then out of the picture.
Hmm.
And so there's not much sensitivity is being shown
Yeah.
much, as you can see in an environment from that end, and on tabloids, on TV, in the media, much at all. Period.
Yes.
Probably, and some of us have in our own family situations, we're not having much emotions or empathy.
Hmm.
And that's part of emotional
Yeah.
intelligence happening in a relationship. Everyone's either trying to be, real logical, or having emotions, or being totally drama as can be,
Yeah.
because there's no real management of
No middle ground for emotions
balance in so many
anymore.
words,
Yeah.
being the management.
Yeah.
And so you can understand, like in this particular case, there's not going to be much empathy I'm going to feel for you
Right.
when it comes to if you show that kind of emotion.
Hmm.
Buckle up, we got to be tough.
Yeah.
Things are, tough in
This
life.
is not the place for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's really too bad, because that means you got a lot of children who are going to walk around with what I call pre-PS, what's it called?
PTSD.
PTSD. Because
Yeah.
most of the time when people have PTSD, I was in the military too, so I understand a little bit about it, and probably have some a little bit still left now. But part of that PTSD is to hide from, not paying attention to the tragedy that I saw, the
Hmm.
tragedy that I felt, that I smelled, I could hear. And that's the same thing that happens in the life of those who are in that midst of that. They may not
Yeah.
actually be going through that. Oh, they may have,
Hmm.
but they get, capped off with a parent or someone that says, "Don't show your emotions, keep it in," and then they're running around, very insensitive.
Hmm.
The emotional intelligence is very, very low. They're walking around like zombies in so many words, or some just angry, or like a grenade ready to blow up anytime.
Yes. Yes.
And then they roll it over to their children,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so on and so forth. So the importance for us to have the right balance of emotional intelligence is so very important. And for today, it's not even funny. And we're going to always make sure that when it comes to a balanced, healthy relationship, that's something that's always presented. We're not in a relationship. We shouldn't be in a balanced relationship to try to battle with one another,
Hmm.
to try to, in turn, play tit for tat with one another.
Yes.
There's not a competition.
And there's a lot of
This
that
is
that
a
goes
relationship
on.
that we are relating
Yeah.
together and finding real unity with one another.
Hmm.
And at the same time, when we are not always feeling good about one another, we at least find a place of appreciation.
Yeah.
We appreciate that person. And the more that you try to appreciate that person, using your emotions of awareness, emotional support, emotional communication, then you're going to find that brings that out of them, because you see that in them,
Hmm.
and it brings it out of them. And hopefully it resonates with you, because it's also in you, or you would like it to be in you. And some things that you like to be in you got to be that first example.
Yes.
To be able to draw people with the like mind, like spirit, and like energy.
Exactly.
So now we're going to go on to, what's the next one? Empathetic communication.
No, social awareness.
Oh, social awareness.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to run this through it because it's time.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah.
Social awareness
Mhm.
involves being attuned to the emotions and needs of others in social situations, including your partner.
Mhm.
It includes reading nonverbal cues, understanding social dynamics, and adjusting your behavior to maintain positive interactions. And one of those things, that's one of the things that we used to do when
Mhm.
we were out and and in front of a lot of people, making presentations and things like that. And sometimes in meetings, we would sit next to each other. Well, we always sit next to each other, but
Mhm.
sometimes you would be making a presentation and you get caught up in the presentation.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there and I'm looking around and I'm seeing that
Mhm.
people are not not engaging anymore, and or for whatever reason. And so I would touch your leg to bring you to give you the hint
hmm
that it's time to shut it off, that it's that they're done,
hmm
or
Too much information.
yeah,
Their emotions
information
can't take it
overload.
anymore.
Exactly. And so, so that's being attuned to your surroundings to help your partner sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes even your own relationships, sometimes the way you feel, you can't necessarily get it out, or if you do get it out, it might be delivered in such a way it's overwhelming, especially if this is something new to you when it comes to you trying to show your emotions more in a managed way, and you've been
Yeah.
with someone that says you ain't never showed your emotions really,
Yeah.
not in that way. So
Yes.
why are you punking out now? Why are you even trying to be more emotional now? Well, there's got to be what we used to call, or what we do call, a bridge statement to let you know I learned something new. My
Yes.
emotions are important, and I'm trying to let you know this is how I've been feeling for a long
Mhm.
time. And I've been feeling like I should be able to pick up the TV remote and change it to the food channel, even when you don't like it. So
We have
I'm sticking to that.
it's time to put in Cialis TV moment. Here's a TV over here, and here's a TV over here.
Okay.
That's stupid. So
But anyway, we're talking about, again, expanding.
Yeah.
We're talking about building. We're talking about finding balanced relationship, and that's what taking the journey is really all about too. At the same time. All right, let's go to
trust and intimacy.
mhm,
Emotional intelligence contributes to building trust and fostering intimacy in relationships.
mhm.
It involves being vulnerable, open, and trustworthy, as well as recognizing and respecting your partner's boundaries.
All right, expecting your trust. What again?
Respecting, being vulnerable, open, and trustworthy,
Mm-hmm.
as well as recognizing and respecting your partner's boundaries.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what does that say to you?
It says to me, if I am in the situation where I am just really emotional, I may not want to be touched right at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And if I say, please don't touch me now, you honor that, you respect that, and don't take it personally. Like, I don't want to deal with you. It's just, I got to deal with this, whatever is bothering me, and get to a point where I can share that with you. But sometimes when you're in a certain place in your emotions and somebody touch you, your emotions are going to come completely unglued, and it's going to be a lot more difficult to bring them back into balance,
alignment in this case.
Yes. Yes. And so, that's respecting the boundaries so that the person can use that self-awareness of their emotions to get it back into a place that is good for everybody.
Exactly. I agree with you, and I say we move on because time is
I
gone.
agree.
What's the next one?
The next one is empathetic communication. Effective communication in relationships requires emotional intelligence. It involves expressing yourself clearly and respectfully while also listening empathetically to your partner's perspective. That's a hard one for a lot of
especially because usually when we think about this, it is a time where both of us are sadly far away from trying to communicate to one another.
Exactly.
And so that's when the emotion comes in, and we're not thinking about emotional intelligence in such a way that says this is the time I am to be the highest level of emotion at this time, and not the emotional awareness where my emotions are mostly important, and I'm gonna let you be aware of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's definitely a tough one. That resilience, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah. What does resilience mean, by the way?
Resilience means the ability to bounce back. It's the you can go to a place that is very low for you, but then you work your way back up to an even keel, and everything is okay with you again. It's a matter of not giving up.
Yeah, it's the ability to cope with stress, adapt to change, maintain a positive outlook during difficult times. So that means sometimes you may have to walk away.
Yes.
But you're coming back.
Exactly.
It may be even while you're arguing and you're upset, your delivery, your tone might be very upset, listen to this, folks. I know because I did it. And your tone may be very upset. And you may think because your tone is being upset, you're not delivering in a pretty and a nice, thee thou thither, and I love you this, dear, and I'm sorry that, you
I
might be
love you,
delivering
but not now.
you might be delivering it very hard, very forceful, very straightforward. Yet in your delivery, you could still use some very righteous words to get your point across. And in those righteous words that you're using to get your point across, you want to make sure while you're getting that point across, you are at the end of resilience, bouncing back, meaning you are pulling back to, even though I'm upset and I really didn't want you to do this, and this is making me angry. Know this, I still love you. I still care for you. And I, in turn, I'm not trying to walk away from this. I'm saying we just need to deal with it. Notice how I'm doing that right now.
Yes.
Using that action with my hands,
Yes.
using that voice in that. Sometimes we may have to do that.
Yes.
Because again, having a balanced relationship is not about being perfect, because there's no such thing as perfect. It don't even exist. This is about using balanced ways to be able to handle yourself and work in your relationship. In fact, what I just said to you a few minutes ago was part of using that thing we call a bridge statement. Okay. And bridge statements many times are going to have emotions in them.
Yes.
Sometimes they won't, but sometimes they will. But this is an example where you have emotions in your bridge statement, but you're still making it such a way to let that person know who you're trying to connect to. I still want to connect to you.
Exactly.
I'm not happy about this situation, but I still want to connect to you. I'm still trying to connect to you.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
The one that just came to me when you said that is, I love you and we're meant to be together.
Yeah.
So let's work this out.
Yeah.
That when you said that about
that was one of the bridge statements we talked about. There was 4 or 5 different bridge statements. This had to do with a spiritual purpose that's behind why you are connected in a relationship. That sometimes you may have to move to that. We are supposed to be together. God put us together. Things like that may have to be said. Yeah. Sometimes that even will very easily smooth an argument out, where you can't point fingers at, you really don't know. You feel like this reason is no good anymore. And then it comes to something at a higher level of thought, a spiritual level that says we are meant to be together. God has put us together. The gods have put us together, whatever it may be. And in turn, it moves all that energy off of you or the problem, to be exact. Because that's what bridge statement is all about. Looking at the problem and not saying that it's you. And it puts things pretty much in perspective there.
Exactly. So finally, relationship management integrates all the skills mentioned above. It involves recognizing when a relationship needs attention, even in the absence of clear crisis indicators. By growing our EQ skills, our emotional quotient skills, or our emotional intelligence skills, we become better at managing and resolving conflicts, as well as navigating through changes, stress, and challenges.
Yes. So in conclusion, emotional intelligence plays a vital role in nurturing a healthy and balanced relationship. While IQ skills are taught in school, IQ skills require personal effort and practice. Now, you can't get much of IQ skills that have to do with emotions in school, but you can't get it from us. Okay. Like a school right now, we've been doing this for the last couple of weeks. So you can't. Exactly. But it does take efforts and practice. It's not something you're going to get overnight. It's not something you're going to in turn get today. It's not something you can get tomorrow. You will have to use these skills and practice them over and over and over again. You'll get better in some, and you may not get better in some of them. But the fact is, it's all about practicing. It's all about making it come to pass. It's all about doing, because a relationship is all about being, not just doing from that end. And when you do these emotional kind of techniques, you'll find that other person will eventually, if not on the spot, as we just said, we're supposed to be together, it will make them feel good. And that's that old saying, when a person dies, most people are going to remember them by how they made them feel. Not how much stuff they had, not how much money they gave to them, not how smart they talked. They're going to be mostly remember how they made other people feel. So some of these emotional intellect kind of steps that we talked about, they will help you feel good in your relationship and make your mate feel good. And don't you want to ultimately make your mate feel good? If you want a balanced, healthy relationship, you are all about trying to work it out so that your mate feels good, but also you feel good. In fact, your mate wants you to feel good. You want to make your mate feel good. Oh, you want your mate to feel good. So that means both of you want to feel good in your relationship.
And that is balance.
Exactly. That is
Yes.
definitely a balance. So remember, building emotional intelligence is a journey worth taking in the sake of all our relationships and personal well-being.
Yes.
This is all about trying to live your best life.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're
That's-
very happy to see that you're here. You're going to say something? Sorry, I don't want to
No,
cut you
I
off.
was getting ready to say, and sometimes you need help in doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you end up going to relationship counselors
Which we can help you
and
with. Yeah.
relationship coaches like we are.
Yeah, exactly.
And so,
I'm gonna put that
and I,
information up here again. They
yes.
can go to where?
to TTJT at Taking the Journey Together. And that's our email address.
Mm-hmm.
And Facebook.com/TTJ Together. Instagram.com/Taking the J Together. And so, and our website is takingthejourney-together.com.
We'll be glad to help you on your path if you're trying to have a much better, level up, balanced relationship. We can give you help and direction to go there. We can't make you, but we can certainly help you stay that direction, go in that direction, and make that happen for you in your relationship if you want a balanced, healthy relationship. It's going to take work. It's going to take practice, but at the end sometimes in the beginning and in between, it's all about taking that journey together and making each other feeling good about each other and feeling happy about each other and feeling joyful about each other. And that's what this is really, hopefully, all about with you and with us.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so we are glad that you joined us this
Mhm.
week. We'll be back again next Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern
Eastern Standard Time.
Who are we coming back with next week, too, by the way?
Dr. Frazier should be back.
Is
with
he
us.
coming back with us?
He should be.
Oh, you want him to come back with us?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we'll be glad to see him come back with us.
Yes. And so until then, stay in a balanced relationship as you take the journey together.
Let your emotional IQ become a PhD in it. Hopefully. Take care. God bless. Peace and Ashe.
Like that.